when he does get something, like a pack of M&Ms or gummy worms or something, and then he eats it all, and then he gets mad that they're gone. Mm-hmm. Like, he doesn't understand that. Why
It's
isn't there any
insane.
more in here?
They're like, it's true. It's like they're crazy, like drunk people.
Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to the Pastor and Wife podcast.
We welcome you to hang out with us today.
I'm Hansel.
I'm Natalie.
Okay, we're going to talk about how to parent toddlers.
Toddlers.
Yeah.
Our toddler is toddlering right now.
Yeah, he's asserting his will. So how do we do this in a Christian way?
Yeah. The Bible talks about parenting, but a lot of kind of unspecific concepts, I guess. What the verse that I think of actually is the verse about, I will think it's mentioned a couple times in the New Testament, the verse about like feeding someone milk or feeding them meat. Mm-hmm. And I think of this because I think the key to parenting toddlers or any child is to knowledge is power. Like, you have to understand what's going on in their mind and in their lives from their perspective, and to give them what they need in a way that they can ingest it and understand it.
Okay.
And not just react to their behavior based on what I'm feeling as an adult in my world.
Because our toddler is 3 now. He just turned 3. Mm-hmm. And it seemed like right before his birthday, he was just asserting himself and his will on everyone.
He, like toddlers go through these stages, and I think it's really evident in the potty training process. And I talked to a friend of mine who had a daycare for a while, and I was like, what? It seems like it takes like a full year for my kids to be like fully, confidently, consistently potty trained. And like they get it in, a month or whatever, a few weeks. But like they always go back and they have like relapses and they have all these accidents all of a sudden, and then they're good for a while, and then it's like, she's like, yeah, that's totally normal.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's the whole toddler life, is like all these phases. And you're like, as soon as you get one down, then the next phase comes and everything changes. And so it's like, that's totally when I observe what he's going through, it's like it's that fight between independence and autonomy, and I still need mommy, and I'm the youngest, and I still want to be a baby. And he actually told me recently, I said, you're such a big boy, and he was like, but I want to be tiny. I'm like, I know.
I know.
It's a war within himself, and it's a war in our house.
Yeah. And it's like he's so expressive. He's definitely the youngest, and he gets his way a lot because he's the smallest. But he still wants to be a baby, it seems like.
It's like he wants to do everything by himself. And yet, in those moments where he wants the most independence, is when he also is like the most clingy to me or to one of us.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
It's definitely
It's funny.
a war.
He's a toddler meme.
Yeah.
Like, he loves candy and sweets. And then
he has a horrible sweet tooth.
Yeah, when he does get something, like a pack of M&Ms or gummy worms or something, and then he eats it all, and then he gets mad that they're gone. Mm-hmm. Like, he doesn't understand that. Why isn't there any more in here?
They're like, it's true. It's like they're crazy, like drunk people.
Yeah, toddlers.
Yeah, toddlers are.
Yeah, he'll just walk in a room and tell you all about his little project he's doing with sand, and then mad that there's sand on him.
Mad that he's dirty.
Yeah.
Yep.
And he doesn't want to let you help him do something, and he gets so frustrated, like he starts getting mad and throwing it. And
yeah.
And then when he's happy, he's throwing things in the air. It's like, I have a perpetual drunk person living in my house.
Exactly.
So how do we nurture the good and teach them not to do the wrong things?
Yeah, I mean, I think if you understand where they're coming from and what's going on from their perspective in their world, then it'll be easier to guide them through.
That's hard for me to do
Yeah.
because I can't. It's hard for me to put my mind as a drunken person.
As a little person.
Yeah,
I mean,
a
I
little
think we
person.
can all understand like wanting to do things on our own and to be big, but still feeling like wanting to like physically be able to do things on our own, but also feeling the emotional stress of like I'm like pulling away from your parents and not being with them all the time, and it's really tumultuous.
Yeah, yeah.
So I like there's a bunch of concepts that I like using. Like one of them is love and logic. The one that I've been using from them a lot is their one-liner things. So I haven't actually like I've gotten like a brief overview of like love and logic concepts, but the thing that I like about using the one-liners is I've been doing a lot lately, and it really de-escalates the really high emotional things that are going on. So he'll want something completely irrational, like he'll want toys in his bed, and everyone knows like we don't have toys in our beds or flashlights or anything, to play with, unless it's like your stuffed animal in a blanket, whatever, but no toys. And so he knows this, and every time he wants a toy in bed, and I can explain I can give him long lectures about why we don't have toys in bed and all my reasons and reasoning why. But the thing that works the best is just saying, I know.
Okay.
I know. Like, I know you want your toy in your bed. And just kind of just saying, it's kind of like empathy. Like, I know. And it's disappointing. But that no reasoning compares, because to him, it's not about the reason. I think a lot of what they're going through is probably more emotional than we think.
Yes,
And
it
just
seems
they
that
want
way.
comfort. But not for me to change my rule or to give in or to not give in or to fight over our wills and who has a stronger will, but he just wants comfort because he's upset because he wants it and he can't have it. So
Yeah.
I know. I understand.
Okay. Okay.
And that's it. So that's been working well for me.
So it's like what you're saying is like you have to speak his language.
Yeah.
Just like what we talked about in a previous podcast about being missionaries. Like you can give the reasons why Jesus was risen from the dead and articulate it
Right.
like rationally and well, and people don't believe you until they want someone to pray for someone and see him healed.
Right.
Like if he really conquered death, of course, then sickness shouldn't be a problem, right? And that's their language. It's like they want to see it. Whereas here, people are more intellectual and they want to know the reasons why. But it's one is not better than the other. It's just a different route of communicating and explaining and showing and telling and really influencing in the best way possible. So it seems like that's what you're doing with our 3-year-old.
Yeah. And that's why the concept of milk and meat, like I'm not going to give him a big chunk of meat. He can't chew it. He doesn't have the teeth to chew it yet.
Good point.
So I need to understand what he can ingest in order to give him what he needs. So
Yeah, it's kind of like pastoring. Like
yeah, I mean, you have to know people, and I see a lot of people just try to kind of almost be know-it-alls. Like I know what you need, and if I like I know what you're going through, and I understand, and here's what you should do. When I think more oftentimes than not, people want to be heard and understood, and asking them questions or observing and learning about them first will teach you how to respond to their needs.
That's true. That's true. Like he used to be really good, at going potty and going by himself, like pulling his pants down, go to the potty.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then cleaning up and pulling his pants up. Now he wants me to pull his pants up.
I know. It's like all of a sudden he can't do it anymore.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know how to communicate that I don't want to keep doing this. Because in my mind, I'm like, I don't want you to be a teenager. And it's me pulling your pants up.
I know in your mind that's what it seems like.
Yeah.
That's what it feels like. Okay, I think, and I haven't talked to you about all of this yet, but I think it's multiple factors. I think one of it is like he's probably having more sugar than he used to.
Yes.
And I think somehow, I don't even know if this relates like truly scientifically, but I think that's causing him to have to go to the bathroom more often.
Oh, okay.
Don't you think?
Maybe, yeah.
I have no idea, but I suspect. I don't know.
But he's drinking
It's
more
doing. Is he really drinking? I mean,
Yeah.
that would do it too. If
yeah,
he's drinking
I've
more.
noticed he keeps asking for more milk or
All right.
juice or water or whatever.
So there's the physiological issues.
Yeah.
And then it's that thing where like he's just in this stage for a few months or a month or a few weeks, whatever, where he's been really clinging to me. Like I dropped him off at your mom's, to spend time with grandma and with Lola.
Yeah.
And he like pulled my shirt and would not let me go. And he just screamed and cried because he didn't want me to go.
Yeah.
And he's never done that before. He's always loved it at your mom's house, your parents' house. And so, I don't know, he's just in that stage. So it's like, I want to address it with compassion. Like, I understand with love, like, I love you. I'm not going to leave you. I'm going to be right back. But also just with my firmness, like we don't change our rules for you. We don't just like appease you. Like I'm not going to change. And I think that like not changing our rules or our values or our habits, where it may make them upset, but it also gives them a future like confidence and security.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I think I've been encouraging him to like, if I'm in a rush, I'll just like help him and I'll, push down his pants and all that stuff for him. But I've been, I'll stand there with him. And so I'll go with him. So he has my presence there, but like, I'll have him do it himself, but with me there.
Yeah.
So I think it's just like a process, And the more he does it by himself with me there, then maybe one time soon he'll do it by himself and take more initiative,
Yeah.
But I think it's just a process. We always have to be on our toes.
Yeah, definitely. I really believe that what you're saying is true because if they're not shown compassion, they get worse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can't just ignore that.
Yeah, and I think that's where people get stuck is how do I show compassion but not renege on the rules? Like, because I think rules are important because it helps build people's like a self-awareness and awareness for others. And but people think, especially Christians, we think, oh, showing compassion means just foregoing the rules.
Right.
But God doesn't do that.
No.
On a live stream I did on Rumble. Yeah, I know I'm not supposed to say that, but whatever.
Oh, because it's on YouTube.
Competitors,
It's a competitor.
But on a previous live stream, we read from Psalm 119, and it talks about how David loves the law of God,
Yeah.
but at the same time, God is compassionate and teaches us because the law is not bad. It just shows our shortcomings. Right, it shows us where we failed at certain times, but God is compassionate because He knows that we're not perfect. He knows how weak we are, and He shows compassion in hopes that we get better over time. And it seems like that's what you're doing with our little one. Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, like I yell sometimes and I'm not the perfect parent, but I really love understanding also the perspective of like where my feelings of weakness or my insecurities or my own like issues get into, my parenting style.
Yeah.
where, and I should be the adult and I should have the adults like self-control. And I don't always do that, but like, that's something to consider too, is our, I really like, I think his name is Mr. Chaz or something. I don't think he's a Christian, but I see him on, I saw him on Instagram, I think. And he has this amazing concept of the modes we're in, like survival. Is it mode? Survival mode, survival state.
Yeah.
An emotional state. Yeah, an executive state.
Okay.
And so, like, when I get angry and frustrated because of my state, then I can just react out of just being in an emotional state, just kind of like a raw thing. And that's not really productive or helpful for when I'm trying to train my child or toddler. And we want to get to an executive state where I can be in control and I can know what's going on with him and with me, and I can respond in a helpful way that's like productive, and doesn't tear down or doesn't just express, just be emotional, So, but their survival state is really interesting, because I think there are times when the survival state is good and helpful. Like, we have to know the difference. Like, but like if our kid's running out into the middle of the street,
Yeah.
we can't use gentle parenting or say, okay, we don't run it out into the street. What do we do? Or, come here. Like, we have to instill fear in them, because they literally could be killed. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
So like and I think there was a point in time in history where like you could just have an innocent toddler run out into your backyard, which is the woods, and be like, eaten by a wolf or something.
Yeah.
Like, that time existed.
Yes, it did. Yes.
So, and I think throughout the generations, like, we kind of kept a piece of that when we're in war or something, or I don't know, in some, point in time that's less developed than where we are now. And so, like, I think we have to realize that we don't live in a survival state anymore. And so I don't think we need fear-based parenting. But I think it's really instilled in us, and it's something that we have to consciously be aware of.
Well, I grew up and it was all fear-based parenting, so I know.
Yeah. Well, I think it's I think that's what most people are used to.
Yeah. But it's not usually out of mortal danger anymore.
Right.
Yeah, so it doesn't fit most of the time.
Right.
But yeah, I will, I'm just going to grab the kid and say, come over here if they're about to get run over by a car.
Right. I don't know. Sometimes I feel like you think that I parent too gently or something, and you would, like, you don't want our boys to be soft or whatever. So I don't know what your opinion is about that.
I mean, I see how it works, how there's different modes and stuff. But I think there's another layer of, respect and disrespect. If they know that you told them to do something over and over again, and if you have to raise your voice like multiple times, then that's disrespect, and so that's not a Christian value. So,
but so like with that, I know that if that happens, it's not necessarily their fault. I mean, they should obey.
Yeah.
But like, there's also my part to play in that scenario, which is like, for example, if I told, I'm just like yelling commands out, I'm like, do this, and I tell them like 3 or 4 times and they're still not doing it. I know that in a child's mind, if they're focused on something, even for me, for an adult, if they're focused on something and I don't stop them and get their attention so that they're looking at me and communicate something, like make sure they're paying attention, like that's partly my fault. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't necessarily think it's always pure disrespect. So
not all the time. Not all the time. But I think it's effective when we're a united front, and when you're already at the point of, I know you heard me.
Yeah.
then I have to step in and go, hey, one more time, then there's consequences, you know?
Yeah.
There has to be that because children learn from structure.
Yes.
And so if they know, oh, this is the line I shall not cross, and they learn
Yeah.
it, that's okay.
Yeah, and there is that parenting style, and I haven't really done it where like you teach your kids to obey the first time.
Yeah.
And that I haven't really practiced, but I think there's a lot of value in that, especially for dangerous situations.
Yeah, that one's valuable for that.
But you when you train that, you have to train kids in one way. You can't just say, well, when we're here, you have to obey me the first time, and when we're here, it doesn't really matter. You know, you have to be consistent.
Right, because they
and
won't
I
know.
just haven't done that.
They won't know the difference. I mean, it's like, I think it was Kairos or Orion asked me one time, when is it okay to fight a bully?
Oh, okay.
And I go, well, if you're in real physical danger, then yeah, it's okay. But then I have to realize, to them, real physical danger isn't my concept of real physical danger.
Yeah, what is that?
Maybe a bully's just like pushing you. He's not really hurting you. He's just like pushing you. Mm-hmm. And it's okay to stand your ground if someone's pushing you, but like, you don't like bust their nose open just because they, you know, are like gently, or not, maybe not gently, but you know, pushing or kind of stepping to you without physically hurting you.
Like getting in your space.
Right. And they won't be able to navigate that because sometimes when an adult does that, then that means they will physically harm you. But for kids, they won't be able to do that. And I told them, you know, it's hard. You know, if someone's saying words, you don't punch them, you know. For the most part, you try not to fight, you know. But if they're already like really hurting you, then it's okay to fight back and run away. And so, yeah, sometimes they just, like you said, like situationally, they don't have the brain capacity to know. They don't have the experience.
Right.
Yeah, and that's okay. So I think every kid's different. Mm-hmm. And for our kids, I mean, we have 4 of them. They definitely respond differently. Mm-hmm. Every time there's something that needs to be done, or there's some kind of discipline that needs to be enacted, it's different for each of them. Mm-hmm. So what do you do when a toddler is just really acting up, not following directions, wanting his own way, throwing a tantrum?
I think there are a lot of factors that play into that, and I think the toddler mind and body, I think you have to consider whether they're overtired and grumpy and or whether they haven't had like nutritious food, if they've had too much sugar that day, or if they're dehydrated, if they haven't gotten enough like outdoor like exercise or playtime, you know. Actually, I was listening to this like video. I would like to reference like actual people, but it's like, you know, you just like scroll and you watch whatever. But it was like, I don't know, it wasn't a TED Talk, something like that, where a woman was saying like when a child goes to the mother, it releases a certain type of hormone, but then when they have playtime with dad, it releases a different type of hormone, and it's a different type of like something in their bodies where you know, if they want to go for comfort, they go to mom, and if they want to go for play and for fun, they go to dad. And I think both of those are like really important. When our 2 boys were younger, I used to be like, you need to wrestle with daddy right now, because like they were just really rambunctious. And when they get to a certain age and they try to play with me, it hurts. And I'm like, and it bugs me. Like, I don't know. It's not mom time, it's dad time. Just go be rough with dad right now and have your daddy playtime. And that's really important. Yeah. And they need that. They need lots of like, you know, outdoor time. And we have to, you can't just like look at a toddler and just assess them as you would an adult. Like they're young. So, and they can talk to you and communicate to a certain extent, but they still can't really tell you exactly what they need. So, you know, do make sure they're getting regular naps and sleep, like all night sleep without interruptions, and a good sleep environment that's peaceful, and that they're having quality time with you, that you read to them, that they play outside a lot and get all their energy out and have fun and wrestle with dad, and and are eating healthy and drinking enough water. I don't know. It's like you have to go back to the source, Well,
it seems like you're giving a prescription for preventing the meltdowns.
For preventing it, yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense, because if the way we interact as dad or mom is different, and it releases different hormones in the children, then it's a healthy thing to have both in their lives. Because I agree with you. If I'm here and I'm playing with them and wrestling and different other things, and then the energy that they have that's used to fight you is not there.
Right.
Because even us, when you talk about full belly and full sleep, when adults are hungry and they're sleepy, they get really angry, really fast, irritated. And so it just makes sense what you're saying for the kids. It's like, I was my parents didn't have that concept. So when we were young, they would take us everywhere, and we'd stay up because they were at their friend's house, and we just not sleep good. And
that's kind of culture too, in a way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we'd wake up and we'd be all groggy, and, we can't function. I remember that as a kid, it just was a bad time. I just felt irritated and angry.
And I know that your mom she couldn't take you guys out on her own, and she couldn't take you, especially out to eat, out to a restaurant or something. She didn't do it.
No, because it was just too crazy.
Yeah.
We would just run around and stuff, and go under the table and mess with people. And, it was hard because it was an adult situation where it was adults having a good time eating together. And if it was just me and my brother, we'd just find something to entertain us. And so, unfortunately, it would be other people's shoes, or this and that, or food. Seeing how far they can fly in the air or whatever. And so, I mean,
oh my gosh,
our toddler does that. He just throws stuff. And says, oh, that's interesting. And
I think if you're raised that way, or you're raised the other way, where your parents were so strict, you couldn't be a kid at all.
Yeah.
Then you get married, you start your family, and then you're I don't know, you don't have a good concept of how you want your kids to act, or a good picture of what should a child act like, what's acceptable and what's not acceptable in public. Right. And I think, every family will be a little bit different, but you have to decide that,
Yeah.
and then stick to it.
Yeah, absolutely.
But just, set boundaries. But I think that a good question would be what do you do when you can't prevent it, all that stuff, and there's no perfect child and there's no perfect parent, so inevitably your toddler will act out and will be unmanageable. So what do you do in that situation? So
you take them out of the situation.
Take them out of the situation. And every kid's different too. But think about our toddler. I noticed that if I focus in and hone in on the thing that he's complaining about, then he'll just complain more. And it's because I'm so focused on him, it's he's getting more attention.
Oh, okay.
And so I try to give him structure, try to give him something to do, because he's up to no good, just doing whatever, playing, getting frustrated, something. Yeah. But I'll think of something for him to do and redirect him in a direction that will be productive, and not make it all about him and that behavior.
Okay. Yeah.
So what works for him is just to be okay. And it goes along with taking him out of the situation. It's let's go potty and let's take a nap. And this is what we're going to do. And he's going to protest the whole way, and it's going to be hard. It's going to be exhausting. But you just go through the motions with him, and just kind of just don't make it all about him and his problem. And I think that helps a lot. But And we don't really have to like use corporal punishment or anything really.
Yeah,
Like,
I haven't had the need to do it. I know the Bible says, spare the rod, spoil the child. So I believe scripture, but they're so scared of like, the belt that I don't even have to use it. I just threaten the belt.
I think I've tried a couple times and it totally backfired. I don't think I'm good at it. Maybe I'm
No,
like,
I
I'm
think
not,
it's
they don't take me seriously.
No,
So.
it's the age old thing. Back in the day, moms would be like, just wait till your dad gets home.
Wait till your dad gets home.
Yeah, because it's a different, it's just different roles. I mean, it doesn't mean like a mom can't discipline her children in that way. Of course they can, but there's some more weight when the dad goes, okay, this is a line, don't cross it. Just like, and I know you guys are gonna hate me this, but like that's why more men are like generals than women, because, and it is what it is. If a man who's a leader of an army says this is the line to draw, like Donald Trump or something, he's crazy enough to do it. You know what I mean? Like retaliate if that's the line that you cannot cross.
Right.
If a woman says it, then people go, well, maybe they'll try a little bit, see how far I can get over the line and stuff like that. Because women are more agreeable than men.
Yeah.
Even
Generally.
if they're in a position of power. Right? So you translate that to kids, and they're just going to be like, well, I could just edge my way over, maybe cross the line a little bit, But when it's dad, it's like, oh, no, he's serious. He's going to do what he says he's going to do.
Yeah, and I think, I don't know, there's just like a different spirit about a father than there is a mother.
Yeah.
But I can't even probably count the number of times that we've spanked the kids.
Yeah.
I don't think you really even have had to. But I remember growing up in my family, the line was like pure disrespect.
Yeah.
That included like slamming the door out of anger. That was a big one.
Yeah.
And I mean, we would never talk back or anything. And I didn't get spanked very much.
Because you're good.
Or just literally like going out and putting yourself in danger or something. And just not really using your head. I don't know. But I think it's always a last resort. It's like
last
the
resort.
line.
Yeah. I remember when I was in kindergarten, though, this was back in the 80s, 85. I went to a Christian school, and we had nap time. The kindergartners had nap times. First graders, we didn't have nap time anymore. But kindergartners, we would have these mats. They would fold out, and then we sleep on them. And I never wanted to sleep because, one, like, my parents never, they instituted a bedtime, but, like, never really enforced that much.
Well, not naps, really, probably.
Yeah, not naps. So I'm, like, there, and I couldn't resist the temptation to talk to my neighbors, make them laugh.
Surprise, surprise.
Like the thing I found the most entertaining was when a kid that was next to me was trying to sleep, and I would keep him awake, and
nothing has changed.
And I remember, I don't remember her name, but she was the principal, and she was an older black lady, and she had the yardstick.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh man, is that real? And it was real, and she didn't hit me hard or anything like that. It wasn't like, she was never angry. She just said, hey, one more peep out of you, and I was like, okay.
I miss those days.
I tested the peep, and then she says, oh, put your hand here, and then just one whap, and I'm like, ooh, that stung. And so, I would test it out, and the next time would be a little bit harder, I noticed.
Okay.
And then to the point where, you know what, it's not worth it, because, and I'm just trying to stay quiet, and I'm like shaking because I want to talk. I want to be funny or something. But I learned at the end of my, kindergarten experience, like, okay, I could just be quiet, right? Even if I wasn't sleepy, I could just be quiet and it'll be over, because it was short. It was like 25 minutes or something.
Yeah.
And then, right after would be like recess, and then we go outside and play, and that's my favorite time. And so it wasn't bad. I actually thought that was good because in my mind, in retrospect, I'm like, okay, I'm weighing out, do I really want the consequences of
Right.
this? And it helped me out as an adult because now I can think about, do I really want the consequences of this if I do this or I don't do that?
Yeah, and I think that's the whole point of what we're trying to do. Like instead of just yelling or, the fear-based discipline, I think the whole point is to give good consequences
Yeah.
that particular child will feel like, it was pain for you, but I think something helpful, would be like to I don't know, remove something that they care about,
Yeah.
if it's distracting
Yeah.
them from something or,
I think sometimes that's more powerful.
yeah.
Yeah. Because if they like their tablets or their computer, and if the threat of that being taken away is like death, you know?
And just the concept of that being, those being like privileges and things that are fun that we earn after
Yeah.
we've done the things that are chores and the things that we do for our household every day,
I remember my parents, though, my mom would just get mad at us, but my dad actually used positive reinforcement. So he knew we liked video games, and he understood, like, when he was younger, he used to play arcade games with, my uncles and stuff, and he was the one who bought our first Nintendo. I didn't even ask for it. He just bought it because he wanted to
He
play
wanted
it.
to
But
play.
he says, "Oh, look, I got you a Nintendo." But when it's bedtime, he's playing like
Yeah.
football games on there and stuff.
Yeah.
And it was kind of cool because he would go, "Hey, there's a new game coming out, and if you have good grades or you help me out with this project, like maybe we go to Fedco." It wasn't
I don't even
Target.
know Fedco.
It wasn't Target or Walmart.
I don't even
It
know
was
that one.
Fedco, Toys R Us, Kmart.
Toys R Us, yeah.
Yeah. But Fedco was near us, so
Okay.
I was like, "Oh, Fedco, cool." I know they have Nintendo games there, And so he would just do that, like in not in jest, but like, "Hey, there's an opportunity. If you want to take it, and if you don't, it's up to you." But
Right.
and so my brother was younger, and so by osmosis, I guess, I would like teach him, like, "Hey, look,
Yeah.
there's a cool game coming out. So if we help Dad, like both of us, it's easier,
Yeah.
or if we just do the yard work or whatever, whatever it may be, and then keep our grades up, like we could have Nintendo games, or another big one was like going to Six Flags or Raging Water Park, right? Roller coasters, water parks. We love those. We live in Southern California, so there's a bunch of them around here. And my dad was cool. Like, he would take us because he liked going to those things too.
Yeah.
And seeing like the engineering of roller coasters or whatever. Like, he was scared of heights, so he would just let us go by ourselves. But like, the positive reinforcement, I think, is a good way of showing people, showing little people that your work can pay off.
Yeah, and it's teaching them personal responsibility, and it's kind of showing them in their language, like, if you are responsible in the little things, you'll get rewards, and if I don't know, I like teaching them work before play.
Yeah, yeah,
know?
work before play. Yeah, that's a good
Yeah.
one. That one I did. I'd rather get it over with and then have all the time to have a good time instead of like wasting time in the beginning. I just like get it over with, And Kairos, our eldest, he's like that. He's like telling his brothers and sisters, just do it,
Yeah.
so it could be over.
I noticed a shift though, because he wasn't always like that.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, he doesn't always make that decision, but now, he'll eat the veggies first that he doesn't like, and then, so.
That's what I do.
Yeah.
If there's steak, potatoes, and veggies, I just eat the veggies first.
But it's up to them, and I think a lot of stuff we tell them is like, it's up to you.
yeah,
Do you want to suffer through, or and you give them options, but options that work for you or for your family, not like, do you want this or not at all? It's like two options, like, do you want to walk to the potty, or do you want me to carry you?
Yeah.
Or do you want to hop to the potty or skip to the potty? Or,
Our 3-year-old doesn't like us bringing him to the potty, so he'll choose the other ones.
Yeah, he normally will. But either way, it's fine with me.
Yeah.
And so it's not like you better do this or else. It's like you're still giving them options.
Yeah.
And giving them a sense of control. Like, I have a choice. And I'm going to make my choice.
I mean, it works.
And then if they don't make the
works.
choice, then I make the choice.
Right.
And that's the line.
Right. Well, you made the choice of not choosing.
I'm not choosing,
someone
so
else will
I
choose.
decide. So this is what I decide, and you do it, and I do it, and
Yeah. So you're teaching them to be decisive, and that's a good leadership quality. With our 3-year-old, like, he always likes snacks. He likes chips. He likes, of course, sweet things, and he likes those like beef jerkies and stuff. And but if there's dinner, he knows. He asked me, "Oh, Daddy, can I have a snack?" And he knows what I'm gonna say.
Yeah.
I'm like,
He
you gotta
still
finish
asks,
some of
though.
this food, and like, our girl, she's 6 now, almost 6.
Yeah.
She will negotiate how many bites and this. Atlas, he just goes, he's 3. He'll just try to eat as much as he can, and then when he's done, he goes to me and asks for the snack. He's like, "Daddy, snack," and I'm like, "Okay." So it works out. I mean, they're learning how to do things in real life. That's the case. Like, if you really want something, no one's just gonna give it to you. You got to do something to earn it, and it's a good lesson.
Yep.
Yeah, and so last thing, so how do you do this all in love? Do you still show love after you have to enact consequences or discipline?
Yeah, I actually show a lot of empathy all the time, I think. I mean, I say empathy, I guess it's love.
Yeah.
I mean, I've strayed away from using the word love so much because it's been misused so much.
Yeah, misused, yeah.
Like, I don't know what that means to people anymore, but there's always love. And I think, when we think about how God disciplines us, because that's in the Bible, he disciplines us. But he's always there when we make mistakes and we have to clean up our mess. He's there with us, and he's helping us clean up our mess. And a friend of ours said that once, like years ago, and that picture always stuck with me, is that, we have clear, directions from God. If you do this, your life will go well.
Yeah.
And we screw up like we always do, but he's always there he's always with us when we screw up.
Yeah.
And when we repent and come back to him, and he's there and we have to clean up our mess. He's always
You still
with
have
us.
to, yeah.
Yeah, and he'll help us. But we have to make the effort and do it, and he'll help us, and he's there with us every step of the way. So, there's always love. There's never, anger. There are times when I reach my limit and I'm like, I just need some space.
Yeah.
But, never like an intentional, like, withholding my love for them because of their behavior. So
That's good. That's good. Well, you guys, that's the time that we have. That was amazing. That was a lot covered. And I think we should love our kids on purpose. Right? Yeah. And so with that said, YouTube's going to show you a video that you might like somewhere around here. And we love you guys. Godspeed and God bless. Bye.
bye.